All top creators have a style, a signature look that tells you that it's theirs. But it's more than just the visuals itself, right? It's the feeling you get when you watch their video. A feeling of excitement or curiosity or calm, whatever it is. You tune into it every time you watch one of their videos. And you can immediately recognize a video in their style just from the feeling that it provokes, right? Because as an editor, you have the power to completely change how someone feels and condition that feeling into the viewer through an editing style. Sometimes I'll watch a video and think, hey, this looks like a Gorks video, and how does a Gorks do that? How do I think of him just by watching someone else's video? How does he own that style that's so recognizable? So we're gonna go over the 4 key principles of developing a unique, consistent, and intriguing editing style. First of all, my name is Sam John. I create videos on Instagram using Capcut Mobile as my main tool, and I sort of prove that it's not about the tools, but it's about how you implement them and the vision that you have behind your work. So when someone watches your video, you don't want to be just another copy. You don't want to follow a trend, because if you're following the crowd doing silly little trends, then you can no longer be one of one. You commoditize yourself, and if you're just like everyone else, they have no reason to remember you. You have to be different, and that being different requires a creative confidence that most creators lack. It's the confidence to just be you.
Do you see the vision?
It's authenticity, and that's a lost art in this age where everyone's trying to be someone or trying to prove something, and it becomes so hard to just fully accept yourself and do that in your content, and know that there's going to be, if this succeeds, hundreds of thousands of people that are going to be watching you for you. And that requires a lot of confidence, I think. The way I edit is the way I am. My editing is a perfect representation of the inside of my mind. Abstract visuals, superhero inspired shots, sometimes aggressive, sometimes calm, and always as unexpected as I can make it. The skill is learning how to be that in touch with yourself. So with that being said, the first principle that we're going to consider is pacing of the video. Some creators like to slow it down, others like to speed it up, be in your face. And this also just depends on the type of content you're making. Is it inspirational? Is it info based? Or just straight up cinematic? As an example, right, I could say the exact same line, but just change the way I deliver it. Just changing the music, the cuts, the delivery, and you get something completely different. 1 year ago, I left school to go all in on starting my business. 1 year ago, I left school to go all in on starting my business. We've only heard one line, the same fucking line, but it's told a completely different story and set the video up for a completely different direction. Is this going to leave me fired up after watching this, or am I going to come away from this with some deep and meaningful message about the raw reality of entrepreneurship or something like that? And you should know this. You should know what you want the viewer to feel and to like what they think is a fucking haircut, man. You should know what you want the viewer to feel before you've even recorded, let alone edited. The pacing of the speech and your cuts and the song will dictate that. Which brings us nicely into the second principle, which is music. You want to be fairly consistent with this in your posts, depending on what emotion you're trying to convey. But I like to use upbeat songs that build towards a big beat drop on the hook. And often I'll cut my own words off. I'll show a few examples of me doing that here. I'm going to teach you how I edit to the music. Making a good video is fast paced. This is how I make my fucking hook. And often I'll juxtapose 2 songs that don't even work to create this contrast. But all in all, just lean into your own music taste, you know, use your own fucking playlists. Your personal brand is you, it's personal. And if you're making videos you like and that represent you as a person, then you will attract people like you that are also resonating with that. Now your visual identity. There's a lot that goes into this, and it's your job to refine your own taste. What do you like and what don't you like? Like, I love my videos because they're based on my own taste. If I saw one of those videos scrolling, I'd fucking stop and watch it. It would really intrigue me. So that's why I make that style of video. The colors, the shot composition, the text. So as a simple framework for you, and I encourage you to expand on this because a whole visual identity is so much more nuanced than just this. But these are a few things to start with. Pick a main font, pick a secondary font, If your main font is serif, pick a sans serif as your secondary in capitals and bold to really contrast that, and vice versa. Just experiment until you find a combination that you're really happy with. Pick the text animations that you'll use consistently and choose shots that you really like. I'm drawn to bold colors, making things very abstract, contrasting that with black and white, and doing anything to avoid just boring A-roll. And we're going to cut to a clip of me now in Capcut Mobile, sort of designing that and giving you a bit of behind the scenes of what I really mean when I say developing a visual identity. Alright, just to show you a few things that I think are important with developing a visual style. So we're just taking a clip. Okay, so a really important thing is the text. Let's say I just want to say in the video, I edit on Capcut Mobile. For my style, we're just going to put this in first. I edit on Capcut Mobile, and I choose the font I always use, which is Helvetica 75. I go styles. I like to make it bold and turn the letter spacing down just by one less. And then we need to experiment a bit more. I think of editing as making constant iterations to the same thing. So we've made a few iterations now. I'm thinking, you know, I'd quite like to make this uppercase. And I think it would look really nice if we just added some gaps like that. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I like that sort of spaced out style with the grainy look on this video. And now animations, I edit on Capcut Mobile, and then we can just go in and do whatever we like. I just like to do one word at a time. And another thing that plays a part in our style is the sound effects we use. So I like to use these mechanical sounds. I've recently just purchased a bundle from Ocular Sounds, so I'll try that out. So what I'm going to do is just go to this folder. We might as well just use that for this example. Put it in. That all works, but then I think we used that one there. Split it and then put it over. I edit on Capcut Mobile. Yeah, I think that's quite cool. Like, this is just the style. Obviously, if we had a voiceover, we'll match it to that. And then matching the music, finding a song that feels like this mood. I think this does, to be honest. It's quite mechanical, but also eerie, if that makes sense. Like, kind of old-fashioned, which matches the sounds. And then, say on mobile, we cut it. Oh no, that's cut off the text, hasn't it? Okay, let's put that as an overlay and then delete it. And say we just want to change it out. I think that is quite cool. And then more text comes up, whatever's happening, but it's cutting clips in the right way, developing that style that's consistent through visuals, through text, through sound effects for that text, and even through the colors. Like, this has quite a warm, grainy feel to it, right? Like this scene and this one. There's a few tips on editing there, just so you can see my process. Maybe that moved too fast for you, but I teach how to do that step by step, so you understand everything within the CapCut Creators course, but more on that later. Emotion. The most important principle that we sort of already touched on in this video, because this is baked into everything that you make. You need to understand as an editor that you have the power to influence time, perception, and emotion. And when I say editor, I don't mean someone that does 3D animations or is good at zooming in or some shit. I mean someone that knows how to cut clips in a right way, with the right music, with the right tone, that conveys a message and a story. And this is achieved through everything that we've already talked about. Even the smallest things, like the speed of... What the fuck is that noise? This has been going on all day. If anyone knows what that noise is, that happened right there. Anyway, yeah, even the smallest things, like the speed of a text animation, If you have a really fast-paced video that's super upbeat and happy, you're going to want the text to come in a little bit quicker. But if it's a slower video with a more of a somber feel to it, you're going to want the text to fade in. Like, it's all these really tiny tweaks that all like come together to create this feeling that is so cohesive and works. Like, if you want the edit to feel lively, upbeat music, camera tracking, quick text animations, cut, build up rhythm, and when you have something important to say, the music stops. The text slows down, it fades in, the shot slowly zooms, everything's slower, because now it feels like it really means something. That's what I'm talking about when I say edit with emotion. I did that in 2 minutes, just a few basic principles, but you get the idea there. And in order to do that, you have to have already pre-planned the messaging and the positioning of the video before it's even edited, before it's even recorded, before it's even scripted. The best creators match parts of their script to pre-plan parts of the edit. It's all intentional, it all just takes time to get to that level of intuition. I mean, it took me 3 years learning by myself. And the truth is, you don't have 3 years. The creator economy is changing so fast. Everyone wants to become a creator, but only those that develop their own style and differentiate themselves will succeed. If you want to shortcut that process from years to months, I made a program teaching you how to do all of that, from the effects I do in Capcut Mobile to telling a story within editing. All in Capcut Mobile on my phone using a software that costs like £10 a month. So if you're interested in learning, it's the first link in the description, along with some other free video resources I'll probably link down there. But thank you for watching. I really hope you got some value out of this, and I'll see you in the next one.